So welcome to Cooking with Carin. Today we are going to be making...
We're going to make jam dots, which are vegan cookies that are delicious and super easy to make. They have 6 ingredients.
Oh, awesome. Jam dots. And just before we get started, as per usual, if any of you guys are beginners out there, I just wanted to say I'm a total beginner. I really don't know how to cook, but Carin is awesome and she will guide us through the process step by step.
All right. Okay, so I first learned these cookies about 10 years ago, and I love them because they're made with almonds, oats, maple syrup, brown rice syrup, little salt, some spelt flour, and jam. So easy.
Yeah.
So easy to make. So anyone can make them.
Does that make them gluten-free as well?
The spelt has some gluten, but you can substitute and use rice flour in it if you want to do that. It totally works. So shall we get started?
Let's get started.
Okay. First thing you want to do when you're making cookies, you want to preheat the oven.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and preheat the oven.
All right. What are we going to preheat it
Let's
to?
preheat it to 350. So press bake.
Okay.
And then 350. So basically you're making a almond meal. It's called almond meal, kind of like a gritty almond flour.
Okay.
So that's what you're doing. You make it like that. And go ahead and get the oats.
Okay.
And measure out a cup of oats. So 1 cup of almonds, 1 cup of oats. And why don't you blend them now?
All right.
Okay.
Awesome.
So we're gonna make an oat flour.
Okay.
Beautiful. Pretty simple so far, right?
So far, so okay.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure you get it all out.
Yikes.
Okey-dokey. Then put in 1 cup of flour, which is right there.
Okay. And what kind of flour are you using?
I'm using spelt flour for
Okay.
this.
And why do you prefer spelt flour?
I like to do spelt flour because and you don't need to blend this flour.
Oh,
it's already blended.
It's already blended?
Yeah, but it is. But you can measure it though.
A cup of
1 cup. I like to use spelt because it's an old heirloom variety of wheat flour, which means that it's more of the original before we've done monocrop and hybridizing it. So it doesn't have as much protein or gluten in it. So people who don't want to eat wheat, but can handle some gluten, often do a lot better on spelt than regular wheat flour. You know, mainstream wheat flour has been completely bred for maximum production, higher gluten content, which is what people are getting so allergic to. Yeah? Cool. Okay, good. So there you go. Have a nice mix. A teaspoon of salt.
Okay.
My little bumblebee. Here, let me get you a measuring cup, a measuring spoon. These are the fishes.
Love the fishes.
Yep. So you can do a teaspoon. Let's start with half a teaspoon, actually.
Okay. Little fish.
Okay, great. Some people like to put cinnamon in it.
Okay.
Do you like cinnamon?
I like cinnamon.
All right, good. Well, why don't we put in a little cinnamon?
Okay.
Grab one of the fishes and put in a half a teaspoon of cinnamon.
Half a teaspoon.
Very good that you're measuring the spice over the bowl.
Thank you.
That's really good.
My mom taught me that.
She did. She taught you well. Excellent. Okay, go ahead and mix that in too.
All right.
See, I have this recipe memorized,
Awesome.
and you can too. It's so easy. A half a cup of oil.
Half a cup of oil.
And what I like to do when I'm doing liquid sweeteners is I do the oil first in the measuring cup.
Okay.
After the dry. That way you only have to use one measuring cup.
Awesome.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, less things to wash. You put the oil in, and then the other stuff you put in just comes right out really easily.
Great.
So that's sort of my method.
Right.
Okay, so measure half a cup. Okay. Let's do a 1/4 cup of maple syrup.
Okay.
Slow down.
Woo! Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, we're a little bit over.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And then don't pour it in yet.
Okay.
And then this is going to be kind of fun. This is rice syrup. So there's all kinds of natural sweeteners that you can use, right? Maple syrup is from a tree. Did you know that?
I had no idea.
Did you? It's
Yeah.
from the maple tree.
The maple tree.
And on the East Coast, it gets cooked down. Something like 40 gallons of maple sap turns into 1 gallon of maple syrup. When you think about it, that's so much.
Yeah.
And this is brown rice syrup. This is literally made from brown rice. It's the, you know how brown rice is kind of sweet, it has a sweet quality. So you can see what this looks like. It's very sticky. And so in certain kind of desserts, it's perfect if you want something to stick together and hold together. It's very mild tasting. It's much less sweet than maple syrup.
Okay.
Even. And it's a little harder to use, as you'll see. It's hard to get it out.
Yeah.
But it's really a wonderful sweetener.
And this is what's gonna stick everything together, I imagine.
And you don't have to, you can use all maple syrup. That's a great thing about this recipe. You could use honey. You could use agave. You can substitute any liquid sweetener. So go ahead and get in there and...
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yoink.
You can put it in with the maple syrup.
And how much?
Maybe 2 of those.
So together.
Don't
put it.
you can put it in.
here.
You want to measure it
got
out
got
first.
got
Yeah. First, we would just want to get the right amount.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Super sticky. All right. Yoink. Okay. Is this good amount?
Well, you want it to make a ½ cup total. Yeah, that seems about right.
Okay.
All right, let's see how you did. Okay. Yeah, that looks about right. You got a little more than ½ a cup, but that's okay.
Okay.
All right, so now go ahead and pour it on in. See how easy it comes out with the oil?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you want to mix it together.
Okay.
Some baking, it's really precise what measurements you need, but this recipe is very forgiving, which is why I like it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How did you learn this recipe first?
You know, someone gave it to me, and I've had them for years. They're really, really good.
It smells good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and do those last 2. Cool?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for my sniffles. Then we're gonna take this homemade plum jam. And I made this jam from the tree out back.
Oh,
And so the landlady picked all the plums and I cooked it on the stove, and maybe sometime we'll do a show about how to make homemade jam.
sounds good.
But this is from right here, about as local as it gets.
Yeah.
Okay, so next what we're gonna do is you get a little bit of jam and you just put it in the well.
Okay, so
Like
about
that.
½ a teaspoon, you'd say?
Yeah, something like that.
How long are we gonna cook these for, Carin?
About 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes until the jam gets bubbly.
Okay.
And what I like about this is it's not crazy sweet. Though if you put pure maple syrup in, it's more sweet.
Okay.
you know, the brown rice syrup, it's more balanced. So I like to have a lot of dessert, and I like to have it a lot where I don't feel totally destroyed afterwards.
Right.
Right? And you know, because it has protein in it too from the nuts, it's just much more of a stabilizing sort of dessert instead of other ones which make me feel really good for 5 minutes and then
Crash.
and then I'm crashing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got the oven all preheated and ready to go, right? So that took very little time to do.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put them in the oven. And we'll set the timer for, let's say 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. So I'd like to share a story about cookies. I love cookies. I can eat cookies all the time, all day. And when they come out of the oven piping hot, I want them. And one time when I was in, I used to work at a cookie company when I was in high school. And all day I was scooping chocolate chip cookies, double dark chocolate cookies, almond cookies, peanut butter cookies, all day. And every time they come out of the oven, I just couldn't help myself. I would just eat them. And it was also an espresso bar. So a habit would be to eat the cookies and then have espresso. And then there was also gelato there too, so we'd eat gelato. So all day we were like moving cookies and flinging them and making them and selling them and moving really fast. And it was really fun and, you know, just a high pressured cookie job. Well, at the end of the day, I would go home and I felt like I wanted to die. I was so depressed and sad, and I didn't understand what was happening to me because I felt so good during the day. And I would just lie in my bed feeling really miserable and literally like just there was nothing worth living for. And so day after day I would do this cycle where I'd go and eat cookies and get really excited and happy and drink espresso and have gelato and piping hot, and then my life was over. And finally it occurred to me that the cookies were kind of part of this problem, and that the high that I was riding had a price to pay, which was the other side, which was coming down really hard. And it was the first time that I understood that what I eat has such a huge impact on my body, and not only how I felt physically, but how I felt emotionally. And so it's because of my love of cookies and my relationship to them that started me getting interested in learning about health and nutrition and well-being, and learning how to eat things that I craved and desired, but things that actually feel good in my body, that actually support my well-being instead of take me on that roller coaster ride that you inevitably crash from. So that's my story about cookies. It doesn't mean never have a chocolate chip cookie. I have them all the time. But to really pay attention to how you feel after you eat something. You know, do you feel stable and balanced? Do you feel excited and then 10 minutes later you want to crash? All this stuff gives you information about your individual body. So that's my story.